Hi guys, just before we get into the video, I just wanted to talk about a few changes happening to my uploads. So what I would usually do is post full games that might have gone particularly well or semi-entertaining onto YouTube, and I kind of want to move away from that, make it a bit more diverse. So instead what I'm going to do is stream those full games, so you'll still be able to watch them on YouTube if you want, but hopefully I can get a bit more varied content in there by making videos like this one. So for example, like a guide, a setup guide, or a guide for a particular hero. But anything that you particularly want to see, let me know in the comments and I will try and make that happen. This means that the upload rate might be slightly lower, but the stream rate where I actually play full games will hopefully be fairly regular, and that should be happening at least a couple of times a week. If you have any questions about that, feel free to ask in the comments, but that should be it. Hopefully you enjoy this video and it is helpful to you. Thanks for watching. First of all, in terms of what I physically use, it's just a standard Xbox One controller. It's not an Elite controller. I don't use Scuff, and I also don't use Control Freaks. So nothing going on there. My default settings are 75 horizontal, 75 vertical, 100 aim assist strength, 100 window size, 90 smoothing, and dual zone. I used to run something like 50 horizontal, 35 vertical, and I've definitely noticed improvement since turning this up. I think putting it too high would make it kind of hard to aim, so I'm a bit wary of putting that too high. It might not, but I'm quite comfortable with this sensitivity at the moment. I've still got aim assist on 100. I haven't really tried to mess with the window size because I find the aim assist fine, but if I were to change it because the aim assist was getting in the way, I would mess about with the window size before messing about with the actual strength. I think it's the window size that ruins the aim for most people, but that might be wrong. It's not really an issue for me. Dual zone is, in my opinion, the most consistent aim technique at the moment. Exponential ramp can be okay for some heroes as well, just because of the turning speed. I've heard that linear ramp is actually bugged at the moment, but that might not be a credible source, but it definitely feels off when you use it. It's quite strange. It's fast with small movements but slow in turning, and that's quite strange. So I wouldn't recommend that at all. I think dual zone is better in almost every way, in my opinion. At the moment I'm experimenting with reticles. So default is dot and color is red. I'm trying circle and short crosshairs for some heroes, which I wouldn't usually do, but I've always liked the dot for most things, and I'm sure something new will come up when they release the crosshair changes soon. The color is red simply because red's my favorite color, and some heroes are default like Hanzo because the default reticle is just more helpful than a simple dot. Allied health bars, put those on, no need to have them off. And this Death and Shadow is the bit you're going to be abused for. So these are my controls. They're the same since the last time I recorded this type of video, but I'll go over them anyway. Crouch is right stick. I don't really spam crouch in a game, but when I do, it is quite hard to aim at the same time. So the only thing I would change with this setup is this. I wish I'd assigned this to the left stick instead, but I'm so used to it now that I find it hard to change that and get used to it. So that's just on right stick. I'm sure left stick is better though. Jump is LB. That is basically so I can use the right stick to aim at the same time as jumping. My right hand doesn't have to worry about pressing the jump button while aiming. However, it does have to worry about pressing abilities because I've got A and X as abilities and Y as alt. I'll say at this point that I do use claw while playing this, and I very much doubt that you could play this setup without using claw. My index finger is almost always on AX, YB, but I also move my index finger to RB for melee and use my middle finger for the right trigger. LT is alt fire as usual, and all the other stuff is just using D-pad. I've got voice line on left stick, but as I said, I wish I'd put that as crouch when I first started playing. So this is just my setup, and it's obviously pretty weird. I'm not saying it's the best or anything, and it's just my preference. So something I'm experimenting with at the moment is my Genji sensitivity. I'm trying 100-100, but it is a bit hard to aim in my opinion, so I don't think I'll keep it like that for much longer. I'm also trying exponential ramp for Genji, and it is nice for turning, to be honest, so if there's one thing I keep, it might be that, but I'm not sure. But before I started messing around with it, it was dual zone, and it was 75-75, just like the rest. So Zarya is another example of someone who I did change to 100 smoothing, because I just find that 90 aim smoothing is quite hard to track with some heroes, and obviously with Zarya it's more important to track because she's got a continuous beam. But I'm one of those people that just can't get used to different sensitivities on different heroes, so I need to have it more or less the same, or at least the aim smoothing the same. So I've put it back to 90, and I think I'm just going to have to deal with it, but definitely recommend high aim smoothing for heroes that you would have to track with. But I think that is about it. Hit me with any questions in the comments, and I'll try to respond to as many as possible. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, but I'm at 3k subs now, which is mental, so thanks so much for that. Any specific videos you want, comment them, but I hope this has been helpful, and thank you for watching.